Hey guys, Table here. Today I got a game in the Alabama for you. We got Bill Sims, Cunningham, Scharnhorst. That's double accuracy as far as battleships go. Going to be focusing on the kiting play and, in particular, the positional aspects of that play. What is kiting? It's basically when you're sailing away from the target you're engaged with. So if I'm fighting you across the map, I'm sailing away from you. There's a positional component to it, which we're going to focus on mainly. But from a technical game mechanic standpoint, it's also advantageous. Imagine this. Imagine you're shooting at me. I'm sailing away from you. How do you hit me? You have to lead my ship. So you have to shoot in front of where I'm going. But if I'm pointing away from you, that means you have to actually shoot further than where I'm currently located when you pull the trigger to hit me. So I'm increasing the range of your shot. All right. So if I'm just sailing away, you're sitting still, I'm already making it more difficult for you to hit me. Now, let's say I get you to chase me. How do I hit you? I aim in front of your ship, but you're pointing directly at me. So I'm actually shooting a shorter range shot to hit you than you're currently located when I pull the trigger. So I'm increasing the range of my opponents who are chasing me, the length of their shots, making it harder, giving me more time to dodge, advantage, T-bowl. And if I get you to chase me, you're, in effect, I'm shortening the range of the shot that I need to take to hit you. Increasing the accuracy, giving you less time to dodge. So once again, advantage, T-bowl. So it's a strong play from just a strictly game mechanic standpoint. But once you start thinking about, okay, how am I going to use this kiting play? How is it going to affect the position? What are we trying to do with this play besides just protect ourselves? Once we add in more dimensions to the play, then it becomes really powerful. Now you got to keep in mind with kiting, it's a play in the playbook. It's an arrow in the quiver. You don't always want to be relying on it. If you're constantly kiting no matter what the game situation is, then you're kind of playing as a stat patter, kind of selfishly. You're not really focused on winning necessarily, but just trying to prolong your own health and your survival and maximize your damage. A lot of times that's going to help your team win, but not always. And you need to recognize the situations where kiting is effective and recognize the situations where it isn't effective. Like in this situation, we're going to be down numerically. There are going to be 4 red ships over here, 3 blue ships. As the play develops, kiting is going to be appropriate. Whereas the guys to the north on the blue team, they're going to have a numerical advantage because we're outnumbered down here. That means they outnumber the red team to the north, 6v5 in this case. So if everyone's kiting to the north there and sailing away from the enemies, just kind of trying to focus themselves, they're not pressing the numerical advantage. They're not quickly capturing the base that they have the advantage on. They're not aggressively sinking the ships necessarily. They're more focused on, keeping themselves alive. And that can be a problem because you're not quickly pressing the advantage that you have. Meanwhile, let's say down here we get slaughtered. Well, then these guys are going to sail north and counter those guys that are kind of sailing away from the play. So that would be disastrous. Likewise, if you're in situations where the game score dictates that you need to be aggressive either to defend a cap or to actually capture it. Let's say you're getting down on score and the game is going on. You need to get a cap quickly. Turning around and sailing away from the guys that are defending it might keep you alive in that situation, but it's not really helping you capture the cap quickly when you need it to be. So recognize the game situations. When is kiting appropriate and when isn't it? Anyway, in this situation here, basically what I'm doing right now, I'm looking at this Helena like, okay, he's going to die. He's trying to open water. Essentially, whether he knows it or not, he's like adopting a kiting playstyle here. I didn't even think about that until this moment, but that's kind of a good example of when to not be kiting. He should be using this island cover here, protecting himself, supporting or stopping these guys from pushing into the cap. Because again, they have the numerical superiority over here. If the red team is aggressive, they kill us quickly, they capture this cap, then they sail north and get flanking shots on the rest of our fleet. So until the situation changes, our mentality here has to be kind of defensive. We do have an Iowa that's coming down here. He was a little far back to begin with, but we're still going to be outnumbered. And then when they kill this Helena, we're going to be really outnumbered. So I'm kind of going around here trying to take shots on all these ships that don't have heals. These cruisers, now I realize the Graspy does have a heal, But I'm trying to ding these guys up. This is a failed platoon with tier 5 Graf Spies in here. I'm hoping I can grievously wound these guys, and then I'll have support ships kill them. And I was making that play primarily when the Helena was still alive, because he could have been killing these low health ships. So I was trying to butter them up for him. He was probably ticked at my play because I was leaving these guys alive, and he needs to remove guns to stay alive and protect themselves from these guys. So neither of us were really supporting the play that either of us were making. But that's neither here nor there. He's dead. Now look what we're doing. We're sailing away from the main threat. The main threat from us is the Bismarck. Number one, we want to get away from those secondaries, because the longer we're within that firing arc of the secondaries, the more damage they're going to do passively. That's going to become a problem. But his main guns are also the biggest threat. We have Graf Spee to the left-hand side of the screen there. You might get some shots here and there that hurt us, but not as dangerous as the Bismarck. 2 tiers higher caliber guns. And then we have the Algerie, way off in the distance. He's going to be peppering us with HE, but not the primary threat here. So we're still trying to sail away from these guys, but look at what we're doing positionally here. What's going on in the game, as long as we're reading the play, of course, but what's going on in the game dictates where we're going to try and draw these guys off. I could very easily sail to the north, directly north on the map, try and bring them back into my guys that are attacking B. But what I'm trying to do here, we're still pretty close in terms of ships. We're up 1 ship at this point in time. But we got the flank C, they got the flank A secured. We're trying to get the middle cap. How you win domination mode, you get the center, you get a flank, you defend the center. So I'm trying to buy these guys time to get B, trying to let them resolve all the ships that are over there. They've sunk everything by C. Now they're kind of moving into B, and they're doing what they need to do to capture that base. But we don't want these. We don't want the Bismarck. We don't want the Algerie or this other Graf Spee close enough to keep resetting that B cap or even sink those guys over there. We want to draw them away from the play. They already got A. There's nothing we can do to stop that. But we can pull these guys physically out of relevancy at this point in time. Now, me and the Iowa are both going over here. That's kind of a duplicative effort. It is what it is. We're both kind of threatened by the situation. He's going to go down first. So I'm kind of using him. I'm trying to get around this island well that Iowa's still getting shot at, because once he's done getting shot, now he's sunk there. Now they're going to turn the attention to us, and we don't want to be. We're kind of broadside going around that island. But now that the Iowa took up his attention, we're the primary focus. We need to focus more on our angling, and we're just going to keep going. At this point in time, it looks like we're probably going to hit the edge of the map, and I'm fine with that at this point in time. I just want to keep the guns on there. It's a hard shot to hit someone that's scraping the white line to begin with. But again, we're pulling the Bismarck away. He's focused on us. No, we're not going to affect the outcome of this match whatsoever. We're almost certainly going to die here. And yes, it's going to be a 100-point swing, but that's not going to affect the outcome of the match. Whereas if this Bismarck gives up on us, goes back to defend B, then he can stop those guys from capping. He can sink those ships that are actually trying to win the game there. It's not that I'm not trying to win the game, but I'm not actively affecting the scoring. The scoring takes place if you draw an oval around all 3 objectives. I'm far outside of that oval, so I'm not in the active zone that's actively contributing to the game. But how I'm doing that is I'm pulling one of their main threats away from position. Now we've secured B, and now we've managed to beat this Bismarck up, even though he had the health advantage to begin with, and we actually sink him. So by playing defensively, focusing on the angling, we're making it harder for him to kill us from a game mechanic standpoint, because we're kiting advantage us. But from a strategic, from a game flow standpoint, what do we need to do to win standpoint? Also increasing our team's advantage, because we had the numerical superiority to the northeast. We drew off a sturdy piece, the Bismarck, and we increased their, how many ships they outnumbered the remaining ships that were kind of playing the relevant areas of the map. So that allowed the rest of our teammates to quickly resolve that situation, and they just swept through the map. So let's just change it up. Let's say we already controlled B, or maybe Red already controlled B. Part of the reason we pulled them over here is because B was still open, so we wanted to allow our team to move into that. But let's say it was firmly under control of one camp or the other, and instead of sailing west in that situation, we would probably sail north if we're playing defensively. Yes, we're still kiting, trying to preserve our health, but then we're drawing them towards our compadres, the rest of the blue team, if we're going northward. So it depends on what's actually going on in the game situation. In that situation, I thought it was appropriate to kind of draw the defenders of A away from it, allowing our team to kind of take control over the rest of the map. So that's kind of the idea behind that one. Hopefully you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, leave below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.